When Saudi Arabia and Pakistan signed their strategic mutual defense agreement, a lot of eyebrows went up. I mean, it's not something new, it has been there for a long time. However, one of the lines that aggression against one will be treated as an act of war against the other really raised a lot of eyebrows. And it is believed that India sought some clarifications from Saudi Arabia and also hinted that if this is true, what the press release said, then perhaps India will start thinking about whether they should buy oil from Saudi at all. After all, it's a policy, right? I mean, you won't buy from something from your adversary. So looks like Saudi Arabia walked back some of that stuff and in fact even issued a clarification that it's not really so. So maybe, as always, Pakistan ran away with enthusiasm to claim something that it was not really true. But there are questions that are always being asked that did Saudi Arabia pay Pakistan for getting nuclear arms? And if so, they want to keep it at at a distance, so they won't be called as being having acquired nuclear weapons. So they are parking Saudi weapons in Pakistan and for use in case Iran becomes nuclear. So this has been one of those assumptions floated by everybody, and you should read two books to give you an idea about this. One is Eating Grass and the other one is The Nuclear Jihadist. Now, one thing that I need to tell you about the Pakistan's nuclear program, as always, Pakistan will do two people or two entities doing the same thing. You have PAEA, Pakistani Atomic Energy Commission, that works on its nuclear project. They also have the Khan Research Laboratories, that is the famous or infamous, whichever way you want to call that, AQ Khan run. And both of them claim to have developed the bomb on their own. Sometimes each will run down the other in front of other military bosses and the political bosses to try and get an upper hand. So I'm going to talk to you about what exactly has been happening and my guess on how much there is a relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and what kind of an influence, if any, Saudi Arabia has on Pakistan. All this I'm saying now because there was one ex-CIA interview that came on ANI and suddenly everybody is saying, oh, Saudi Arabia was the one which requested that US not take out AQ Khan. Why? What is so nefarious about this AQ Khan? Well, it looks like he sold the same bomb to 10 different countries. Not 10, but definitely 4 or 5. And I'm going to talk about that also. It's a very interesting story if you listen to what this guy was capable of doing. He was a glib guy. Anyway, so let's take a quick look at this relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and where it is headed. I have a small infographic, and the infographic claims a few things that I am myself not in agreement with, and I'll tell you all that when I summarize it. As always, like this video and please watch it till the end. So, Pakistan's nuclear program and the Saudi pact. Number one, is Pakistan a confirmed nuclear power? Well, the fact that they detonated something in 1998, but I think this is, again, let's just go ahead. The official story is that does Pakistan have nukes? Yes. Pakistan is one of the 9 states globally confirmed to possess nuclear weapons, and they are estimated to have approximately 170 warheads. Now you can ask me this question. So what is it that India took out in Kirana Hills and in Jacobabad and so on and so forth? Well, that part will never see the light of the day, but it is believed that all this stuff, nuclear warheads, don't get loaded with the atomic weapon right away or the nuclear weapon right away, that these are kept separate and they are assembled just before being deployed. That assembly time itself takes a few days, it is believed. So the storage is what is believed to have been completely taken out by India, but it is possible that Pakistan may have a few completely done and ready to deploy in case something bad happens to it. So let's say that maybe 10 or 15 are still there, that they may have already had it set up for launching from one of their fighter planes. And again, there is some lack of clarity about what they can do and cannot do with the F-16. So I don't know if they can fly a nuclear warhead on an F-16, whether the United States will approve. But Let's take a step back again. Would United States allow Saudi Arabia to do a deal with Pakistan to get hold of Pakistan's nuclear weapons, even if to buy them, without them having some sort of a hook? Ask yourself this question. The answer will come towards the end. Okay, the first nuclear test. When did this take place? May 1998, about 10 or 15 days after India tested the bomb in Pokhran. And immediately, Clinton administration slapped sanctions on both countries. India recovered quite nicely, but Pakistan could not. That is an economic problem. But even here in the May 1998 thing, the so-called nuclear weapon that they claimed to have exploded was something that they got from China. Many resources, like I told you about the two books, you should read that. They indicate that this was not something that Pakistan developed itself. Much of it was provided by North Korea and by China. I mean, North Korea is what? I mean, this is satellite state of China, which means China basically gave them the stuff. How did China possess nuclear technology? Well, they got it from Russia. And how did Russia get it? Well, they stole it from, it is believed, Los Alamos labs in Santa Fe. And this happened right after the Second World War, when US had exploded those. They actually tried three, only two deployed. One, I think it fell into the sea, atom bombs and at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is essentially the story of how this nuclear program happened. But the interesting story here is in 1998 is that the PAEA did the entire interfacing with the Chinese and got everything done. Of course, there was some interfacing with North Koreans also. They needed some missile technology from them. And they did all that, and then they were about to explode the bomb, and they had all the regal guys like the military and the political leadership about to witness this event. And then A.Q. Khan, who had nothing to do with this, insisted that he will press the nuclear button that would essentially initiate the reaction. And I think there were, and PAE of course objected. They said nothing doing, you had nothing to do with this. So it came close to blows. It is believed that somebody who had worked on the project finally pressed the button. But whose nuclear device was that anyway? Another interesting story is between May 6th, when Operation Sindoor started, and May, I think, 8th or 9th, which is when India started retaliating back in a very powerful way. Though 1-2 days, it is believed that somebody very high up from the Saudi Arabian kingdom visited India. So I wonder what is it that they wanted to talk to India about. Officially, Saudi Arabia never said that they own nuclear weapons. So if they had something in Pakistan, there is nothing that India could have said. I mean, they could have not come and told India, look, we have our stuff in this place and this place and this place, so don't attack it. I don't think India would have even listened to that. I don't think they can say that either. I mean, if India would leak that information, that would be embarrassing for Saudi Arabia, and US would come knocking on their door. How the hell did you get these things without us knowing about it? So there is a triangle: United States, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. And United States perhaps knows exactly how this is all being done, how it is being held, where it is being held. In fact, many say that even NATO weaponry was stored in Kirana Hills and in Jacobabad, which is why you saw a reaction that was 180 degrees within a matter of 24 hours. Trump just jumped up and down, whereas just 24 hours before that, J.D. Vance said it is something between you and Pakistan. We have nothing to do or say about it. So sometimes people don't know exactly what's going on, and these are secret things, and the defense will suddenly come up and say, wait a minute, our stuff is also there. This could have also been taken out, which is why you saw those reconnaissance planes and things like that. So all said and done, Pakistan is one of the 9 countries which have nuclear weaponry. Which are the 9 countries? I can count on my fingertips. Russia, China, United States, France, Great Britain, India, Israel, Pakistan, and I don't know what the 9th one is. There's one other country that has nuclear weapons. Ukraine did, but there was a treaty that was signed between Ukraine and Russia, overseen by the United States, according to which Russia promised, in exchange for taking all their nuclear weapons back, they would not invade Ukraine. Famous last words, isn't it? Anyway, I just want you to know that not every promise is honored on either side. Okay, Now let's take a look at the key nuclear policy of Pakistan and the status. Pakistan's program is defined by a specific doctrine and international position. Number one, Pakistan is not party to non-proliferation treaty, and same is true with India also. India too is not a party to NPT. And minimum credible deterrence, it maintains this doctrine as a defense posture primarily focused on its regional rivalry with India. Well, India did dare them and take out the stuff that was stored in Kirana Hills and Jacobabad. They couldn't do much about it. So this bluff has been called. No first use policy, which means Pakistan can launch the weapon at their discretion whenever they want. That's what their doctrine says. But now it's a moot point whether they have capability or not. Like I said, it is a possibility that they may have a few already fitted warheads, and let's hope that it's not true. Be that as it may, let's move on. What is this Saudi Arabia Defense Pact with Pakistan? For the longest time, Saudi Arabia has been giving donation to Pakistan, and many in Pakistani circles, they said, oh, they're not giving it for charity, they're getting something in return. And they would be coy when they ask, what is it something that Pakistan is giving to Saudi Arabia? My information is that if you take a look at Saudi armed forces, Saudi Air Force or Saudi Army or Saudi Navy, the rank and file, which is the lower strata, is all supposed to be Pakistani origin people, and only the officer rank and above are all Saudis. I don't know, this is not if it is true or not. Those of you who are knowledgeable about how things work in Saudi Arabia, please do update me by way of comments. This is my information. Now, so that means that Pakistan is already embedded in Saudi Arabia's armed forces. So what does this new treaty mean? I think, see, the thing is, sometimes you try to take something that's already existing and add a few finishing touches to it and claim that this is something new, and then you coax the other person and say, just play along, just say, yeah, it is true. So I think that's what might have happened in this September 2025 Defense Pact. But the interesting thing is, if you start looking at the fine print, is there a deal for deployment in Saudi Arabia? Meaning, if Saudi Arabia is attacked, will Pakistan send its forces? The answer is no. There is no official, publicly confirmed deal to store or deploy nuclear weapons in Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is still having that plausible deniability clause, hands away. We don't have any weapons, even though they may be at a touch of a phone call, may be able to requisition a few for themselves from Pakistan. As to whether some of the things that was intended for Saudi Arabia was damaged during the Operation Sindoor, well, only Pakistan can explain, and we don't know if they have or not. Now, let's take a look at the pact and the ambiguity that comes with it. The speculation stems from the pact's strong but vague language. What is it? The Strategic Mutual Defense Pact, September 2025, states that any aggression against either country shall be considered an aggression against both. When pressed, officials stated the deal encompasses all military means, neither confirming nor denying a nuclear guarantee. Now let's take a look at, from pact to speculation, what is the flow of logic. A Strategic Mutual Defense Pact is signed. The pact includes a strong mutual defense clause and a vague all military means language. See, if Saudi Arabia's rank and file is consisting of mostly Pakistani people, then it is actually like, Saudi force in name only. After all, it's the soldiers and the mid-level people who are going to fight the war for them, not the officers. The officers are going to sit in plush rooms or in bunker rooms and direct the whole thing. So it's an interesting thing whether Saudi's army should be considered as an extension of the Pakistani army or vice versa. So we'll see. Pakistan will probably gloat about it one day or the other, so we will know a little bit more details. Now, people who are watching this SMDA, who have read this thing, interpret that this is a sort of a nuclear umbrella, and it might not be a nuclear umbrella but an extended deterrent for Saudi Arabia. Maybe they want to try and ward off Saudi Arabia from attacks by, for example, Iran, because Iran is Shia and Saudi is Sunni, so there's always a possibility that there could be a flare-up between those two countries. So let's now conclude the fact versus speculation. What are the publicly confirmed facts? Pakistan is a nuclear armed state. Well, if once China gives something away and Pakistan takes it and they own it, why do you care whether it is manufactured in Pakistan or not? It is having weapons. Its stockpile is estimated at 170, although a new inventory should be taken. Maybe the IAEA on its next visit give us an updated inventory. The first nuclear test was fired in 15 days or so later after India did. Pakistan is not a party to NPT, and a mutual defense pact was signed with Saudi Arabia. Now, what is unconfirmed, ambiguous, or interpretive is there is no public evidence of a deal to deploy nukes in Saudi Arabia. They want a hands-off policy. The term nuclear umbrella is an interpretation by analysts, not official language from the pact. In other words, the language in the agreement has left it deliberately vague and open. The full extent and specific triggers of all military means clause are unknown. That means they are not saying, if you do this, we will do this specific reaction. That sort of stuff is also not mentioned. Is it one other PR exercise of Pakistan where Kingdom of Saudi Arabia decided to play along? It's possible. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia would know what kind of consequences they would face from India if they did something. After all, KSA's investments are in India. Those things also need to be kept in mind. Although I'm told that Aramco and Reliance came very close to having an investment of Aramco in Reliance, and then finally the thing fell through. I don't know why. Be that as it may, it's just one of those things. Business things can go left or right sometime. So here's an interesting question for all of you. So do you think Saudi still possesses nuclear arms? Answer by way of comments. If any of you have some information, especially from our brothers and sisters from Pakistan or even KSA, please let me know by way of comments. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.